Welcome to another episode of the See It Our Way podcast, brought to you by VICTA. Well, you know the first episode was good, but trust me, this one is even better. This episode is all about blind gains, the positives that have come into our lives through having a vision impairment that may have not been part of our lives otherwise. You're going to be hooked because there is so much to come on this episode. More embarrassing blind and visually impaired stories, Ellie is back with her pet peeves, and we've even got 2 Paralympian swimmers on the podcast. All that and more. But we're going to start with Robin and Ruqayyah. Now, they're going to introduce the term of blind gains and, well, explain it in better detail than I did.
Hi, everyone. So welcome to episode 2 of Seeing It Our Way, the VICTA podcast, in which VI people talk about VI things. And with me today is the lovely Ruqayyah. Do you mind just introducing yourself quickly?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Ruqayyah. I'm an award-winning blind artist and disability advocate. Really excited to talk to you guys about blindness gain today.
And as Ruqayyah said, I'm Robin, resident dabbler in accessibility, average runner. The main talking point for today's episode is blindness games, really. And I believe it was you, Ruqayyah, who kind of wanted to talk about this and raise this. So do you just want to kind of talk us through what it is and like why you're so interested in it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to talk about blindness gain because a lot of the times people look at disability and see the negatives of it, whereas blindness gain or disability gain, as it originates from, is talking about the positive impact that disability can have on community and society without just being bogged down by all the negatives. And it's something that I've been researching into quite a bit for my own dissertation at the moment. So blindness gain is basically something that has originated from to help the blind community. And it can also help society as well. So take audiobooks, for example. It's something that originated to help and support blind people, blindness gain in that sense. But it's blindness gain that has also gained for society because audiobooks are now absolutely everywhere and super popular. So blindness gain, in a sense, can be accessibility needs for yourself or however you want to take it personally. I know people sometimes have different views on that, and that's absolutely fine. But I really like to look at the positives and how blindness and disability has so much to give to society.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of a wider disability discussion, as you've already pointed out there, right? Because I work in accessibility, and one of the talking points which always gets raised, right, is that accessibility and rather disability is a community that we will all be a part of, whether that's because, you age, whether that's because you have an injury. So like, it's an experience that we will all have to one degree or another, right? So kind of seeing the positives of it and looking at disability and blindness and visual impairment through that lens is definitely helpful, both as an exercise in mental health, right? Because disability is hard, but also in letting society at large better kind of grasp a more nuanced view of blindness and disability.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everything at the same time, you kind of need to take things how you would take them, because I know that there is downsides of being like, oh, blindness gain, blindness is amazing, blindness is this, that, and the other. There are negatives and there are hardships, but it's good to look at things as 2 sides of one single coin. There are positives and negatives to everything. So yeah, just like what you said.
Yeah, and I think as well, especially for people who may not have been born blind or have gained visual impairment because of life circumstance, right? And they have that to grapple with. So kind of having that mindset of, and obviously it's hard, right? At least knowing about the positives or what the positives can be is definitely helpful in that sense as well. But also I think as well, like kind of stepping away from blindness for a second, and to kind of echo your example about audiobooks, captions or subtitles, depending on which term you want to use, obviously originally helpful for people who might be deaf and hard of hearing, right? But I know so many people who aren't deaf or hard of hearing who cannot watch anything without captions. And kind of that as an accessibility adjustment has become mainstream.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah. It's really interesting to see how certain accessibility accommodations have just integrated themselves into society and how people use them. I'm reading a book by someone called Georgina Cleage at the moment, who is a visually impaired artist, has an art background, and writes a lot about blindness game, but also this sort of visual culture. And it's really interesting reading how audio description isn't just helpful for blind people, but also sighted people. And that's not something I would have considered before. So it's something that I'm finding very interesting reading. And it's just something more I'm finding out about, I guess.
Yeah, it's very interesting you bring that up, actually, because I was talking to a friend of mine, and we're planning to watch films together and stuff. And she was mentioning, do you want me to, because we're watching it online because she's not in the UK. And she was like, do you want me to try and find an audio described version of this, right? And I was like, you know what, that could be actually interesting, because obviously I've watched many a film with AD, but she hasn't. So I'd actually be very curious as to what her take on that might be. It might, for all I know, right? It might be she might get annoyed by it, because if you're not used to it, it can be very annoying. So it's going to be interesting to kind of figure out what her take on it is and what her experience of AD is.
Yeah, you're going to have to report back to me on that one. I'm also very interested. At home, because I use audio description on the TV and stuff when I'm watching stuff with my family. I think it's been mixed opinions, which is quite interesting. Some of my family members absolutely love it. They think it draws in attention to things that they would have otherwise missed, and it's quite fascinating. Other people just it's really distracting and annoying and irritating. Why is it there? And it's fair enough. Everyone has their own ideas and input and personal take from it. That's absolutely fine. But something I wanted to ask you today, Robin, actually is, do you have an example of blindness game that you'd like to share?
Sometimes we can be our own worst critics, right? And thinking we're not capable of X, Y, or Z. So I think particularly in the fitness space, seeing people being so active, but also kind of being in the fitness space myself, right? Like running and potentially doing something like high rocks, right? Which by the way, high rocks, I'm part of the cult. I'm sorry to say. I don't know if you guys know what it is. Quick tangent, but it's basically the next cult when it comes to CrossFit. So you do things like a farmer carry into a 1K walk, into a rowing machine, into sledge push, into 1K run, into sledge pull, into 1K. So basically there are 8 exercises, and in between each exercise you do 1K run. So good luck to me, I guess.
I am wishing you loads of luck for that, by the way.
Yeah, so blindness doesn't necessarily have much impact in terms of your body. If you can do it in terms of your body being able to, all right? Blindness doesn't necessarily have much impact on that, but you kind of think to yourself, you kind of put barriers, especially as a teen, right? You put barriers in front of yourself, self-imposed, but discovering that in fact, in some areas, obviously blindness and visual impairment does make a huge difference, right? But in some areas, it actually doesn't. You can still run marathons, you can still do high rocks, you can still do whatever you want to do, albeit sometimes with adjustments, or sometimes with none. So I think more so the gain is more internalized in that knowing you're more capable than you think you are.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you. For me, so I kind of just wanted to share a little story with you and chat to you about it. So a few days ago, I was coming back from a station. I go out completely independently as a blind person, and I have a guide dog, just for context. And so me and my guide dog Bertie were out and about, and we were at a station which we are quite familiar with. I do know the route. I don't tend to need help. But this particular station had loads of roadworks, and basically the path that you'd normally walk on was completely blocked off. So there was a huge detour, and I was completely confused at this point in time. So, oh no, what am I going to do? I was standing there for a good while. Keep in mind, I'm in the middle of London, and you do get mixed reactions, and people are quite grumpy as well, especially during commuter time. And So I was waiting for a while, and I was waiting and waiting, and I'm calling out for help. I'm actively asking for help, but I am actively being ignored until eventually some really nice people come over and they help me across the road. I ask for directions to where I need to go, and just as a landmark, so I know exactly where I am, so I can reorient
Sure.
myself. And so would you, or I mean, some people would they take that as a gain that, oh, you found a friend through that experience, because you wouldn't ordinarily need to ask for help if you were someone sighted and could read the signs? Part of me is just like, it's a nice way to look at it as a blindness gain. And I think part of me does, but it was also a huge hassle in itself. But I'd really be interested to get your take on that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think how I would react to it would entirely depend on because you say you were standing there for a while, right? So by standing there for a while, it kind of shows you that a lot of people like you say, actively ignored you. So like, I think depending on how quickly I think I would have got help, probably would have dictated my reaction to the whole thing. But equally, like, emotions are weird, right? Sometimes you just brush it off, and others, like, it kind of gets to you. And I think, like, that's one of the things with disability, like a lot of things, right? Sometimes negative interactions don't mean anything. Other times they take on a life of their own. So like, I think I'd definitely be grateful for the help that I'd receive, right? So there is that. And I think as well, you can't really underestimate the kind of impact that people you have on people by being independent and being visually impaired and blind, right? Because I think a lot of the automatic reaction when people see people with disabilities is that they can't do X, Y, Z. So by kind of actively countering that, albeit you needed help, I think you can't really underestimate the impact of that.
Yeah, definitely. I think people will take it in different ways. So I was chatting to another one of my blind friends a couple of days ago about this scenario. And again, I think it's your emotion. So part of me is just like, well, it's really nice to see it as a blindness gain, and I made a friend out of it who I wouldn't ordinarily meet, which is quite interesting. But that weight of feeling ignored while you're actually actively asking for help, that's the other thing on top of it. But yeah, no, it's just really interesting chatting to you about it. So thanks, Robin.
And I think as well, like, having that viewing things with a blindness gain lens. Yes, I made a pun. I made a vision pun. It doesn't mean that you don't see or feel the hard stuff, right? Because we all do. It just means that you are actively trying to see the silver lining as opposed to the cloud.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of putting it.
So I think in terms of like blindness leading you in a particular direction, I'd be curious on this actually, Ruqayyah, because part of the assumption is that when you can't see things, or when you at least have low vision, art becomes, or at least visual forms of art, not all of art, but visual forms of art become kind of less interesting, or at least you don't want to pursue it. Like, I'm just curious. I'm curious on your take on why art became a thing for you, even with the barrier of sight loss.
Thank you so much for asking that question. I mean, for me, I guess blindness has kind of led the direction that I'm going into, passion and also blindness and advocacy. So I'm in no way saying all blind people need to do a job or go into a career that's related to blindness, because that's just not realistic. Blind people are people too. They can do absolutely whatever they want to do. But for me personally, I think it fit in really well. Art is something I've always been passionate about, but I've always been discouraged from doing it. I even went to a school for the blind, and I was very much discouraged from teachers for pursuing art. I know it's something that I really wanted to go into, because for me, art is a really amazing way of sharing messages with the world. Art is around you, whether you believe it or not, or whether you see it or not, in that sort of pattern sense, I guess. It's just surrounding you. And I really enjoy conceptual art and being able to share my experiences with the world and having that voice, because I do think there is a lack of representation. So in that sense, I do use my blindness, but also my passion for art combined together to do what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of before I kind of kick off with my nonsense, art is an interesting one, right? Because a thing which was released a few years ago, like the Netflix limited series, right? All the Light We Cannot See, and people will be, at least in the community, will be aware of it to a greater and lesser degree. But the lead actress is actually fully blind, right? And I believe that was her first role. So like while visual forms of art may be traditionally thought of as a field which is closed to people who are visually impaired, that isn't as in your case, that isn't true at all. As in the case of that particular actress, again, not true. So yes, it might be a hard one to break into, but by no means is it impossible.
Yeah.
As for me, as I already mentioned, right, I work in digital accessibility. So funnily enough, I actually just fell into it, which is probably not what a lot of people expect, right, when they hear that I am blind and I work in accessibility. But I was, like many other people, on the job hunt after uni. And this was one of the many, many, many roles that I applied to. It's one of the ones that you apply to and forget about. And for whatever reason, I got in, right? And I think learning about digital accessibility as a wider field, because we all know digital accessibility from a user viewpoint. We know when websites don't work. We've figured out PDFs are a nightmare. We know when images don't have alt text, but we know about it as users, but we don't necessarily know about it as the people who are meant to fix it. We don't know the impacts on the wider disability community, because obviously we will view our experiences through our own disabilities, right?
Yeah.
So it's been very interesting, both having that lived experience of blindness and leveraging that to actually make impact, but also widening my understanding of accessibility to include other disabilities. So while I think my blind, like, it's a happy accident that I landed in this field, it's very much one that I think I can work in long term and make an impact in, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing to hear you describe how we use digital accessibility, or we use digital means, whatever that might mean to you. And yes, from a user's perspective, we have all of these issues and we have all of these concerns, but hearing you talk about it from behind the scenes, it must have given you a lot of input. And I love how you describe how you fell into the job. That's such a fun way of putting it.
Yeah. Funnily enough, while accessibility is kind of a growing field, right, it's still very much niche. And a lot of people do fall into the job, whether as UX, user experience designers, or whether as developers and software engineers. Accessibility, typically speaking, is not a career path that people will have first. It's something you fall into later in your career, because for whatever reason you figured out that yes, actually it's important that everybody has access to this. Yes, actually it's important that people can buy things on this e-commerce website. Yes, actually it's important that my emails aren't just images and people can actually read the information on there. So you figure that stuff out, and you first become an advocate, and then you start learning how to actually be the person on the ground fixing it.
Definitely. And I think that's really important, what you're talking about, your journey. And like, it's just amazing to hear how you fell into the job, the user experience, the behind the scenes, and how you were advocating for that. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think that we've covered a bunch of things here, and it's been a very interesting discussion, right? Because I think you and I kind of come at it from different angles, but there are differences, but there are also a lot of commonalities, and I think that's always like super interesting. And I'm sure the rest of the episode will be equally fun, equally enjoyable, and you guys will have a lot to ponder over. So enjoy.
Absolutely. Everyone who's listening to this episode, I hope you enjoy the rest of it. There's so much meaning and insight to everything that you're going to hear. So please enjoy the rest of episode 2.
I'm Ellie Wallwork, and I'm joined here today by Scarlett and Eliza Humphrey. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Thank you. That was very in unison. So I'm really excited for this because both of you are really good Paralympic swimmers, and I've been looking at your Paralympics GB profiles and just in awe. So well done for everything that you do. But first of all, before we really get started, I'd love you guys to introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
So I'm Scarlett Humphrey, and I'm a Paralympic swimmer. So I swam at the Paris 2024 Paralympics. I've been to 2 World Championships in 2022 and 2023, and in the 2022 World Championships won a bronze medal in the 4x100 metre freestyle relay, VI relay. I also hold multiple British records, and I currently swim at Loughborough University.
I'm Eliza Humphrey, twin sister to Scarlett, and I competed at the 2024 Paralympics and made finals in both my events. I also went to the 2024 European Championships where I won 2 bronze medals, and I went to the 2022 World Paraswimming Championships as well. And I also hold British records in the S11 classification, and I swim at Swansea University in Wales.
We're both in the S11 classification, so that's for swimmers with no vision. So there's 3 classifications for VI.
Similar to the B1, B3 system for British blind sport.
So S11 to S13. So S11 is for those with light perception or no vision. So we were the ones that swim with blacking goggles. So that's our classification.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you have goggles on, like blackout goggles? So that's brilliant. Thank you so much. So this is a very obvious question, but you're both visually impaired. I'd love to know a bit more about your visual impairment because you both have Leber's congenital amaurosis. Am I right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Tell me a bit about
that. So we both have LCA, so Leber's congenital amaurosis, and nystagmus. We are both totally blind now. We used to have some vision. We had
we could see light and dark, colour, and then massive objects if they're right in front of you. But nothing useful. We've always been brailless. We've always used a white cane.
Yeah.
So, but then when we got to our teenage years, that deteriorated, and we're now totally blind. So we know what's like no vision. Well, blindness has been like from birth, and I think it's given us the attitude of like, you can try anything because
just give it a go and see what happens.
This is a bit of an odd question, but you both started swimming around a similar time. You both sort of like swim for your universities now. Are there any big differences to how you both approach swimming, how you both approach your visual impairment?
Good question. We initially got into swimming to be safe around water. So even though we took it competitively later down the line, it was just for safety. Yeah. So that enjoyment factor's always been there. That's like enjoyment's a big thing for me at least. Hopefully for Scarlett's. Hope you enjoy it.
Always good. Highly recommended. I think maybe we always started to enjoy it. I think I took it more seriously than Eliza to start with. I think she was always, I'm here to, she's still her outlet now, I'm here to swim.
No, I take it a lot more now. When I was younger, when I was younger, I was just like, we'll just float around the back.
Whereas when I was mid-teens, I was like, I really want to see where I can go with this.
I would say 2019 is when I actually started taking it properly.
But I think the main thing that we both do is really want to enjoy what we do, because that's what you should do with any hobby. So I think we just want to enjoy it. But I think maybe I take it a bit too seriously sometimes. So I was like, remember, you need to enjoy these things. I think from a visual impairment perspective, though, it's always been a way where we felt included, because you don't need to use your vision to swim. Like, you need to learn, but to actually just plod up and down a lane, because we have tappers at either end, and we know we're safe because we get tapped at each end. Yeah. But and you can stroke count. There's other ways, but
we just find it so freeing in the water, because you're basically in a box of water and you use the lane ropes to keep in the straight line.
You can't really go anywhere.
Yeah, it's, in a way, it's, for us anyway, we find it safer than being on land. If being honest, does that make sense?
Yeah, and I love that so much. The fact that you guys have both said you feel safe, you feel like supported as well. I can imagine, especially with the tappers at the end, or working with your team to actually make sure that you are safe 100% of the time, and that's brilliant. So obviously you guys swim, and that's amazing, but what else do you do? What hobbies do you have outside of swimming?
We do quite a lot. We love music. Both of us like music. So I play piano and saxophone, and Scarlett plays piano and flute.
I also sing as part of the university choir.
Lovely.
So
we do enjoy.
I said we're both studying at uni,
Yeah,
so
that keeps us a lot of work.
Yeah, but is studying really a hobby?
To an extent, I like the reading, and then I realise I have to write about it.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
So yeah, we love music, listen to music. We love listening to the radio, big radio fans. So we
love listening to different sports. We love cricket, so started the county championship. So our life is now complete again.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
we've done a bit of sport in our past, like
so we
did a bit of running.
Yeah, we just have been busy. So listen to radio, listen to music, play music, just like keep ourselves busy and active outside of studying at this point.
Yeah.
Let's talk about studying a bit more, which I know is probably going to fill you with dread. So you go to separate unis. What do you both study?
Oh, I study psychology. Yeah.
And I study history with international relations.
Oh, very humanities for you. That's awesome. Yeah. How have you found your separate uni experiences?
I've really enjoyed mine. Mine's been amazing. We're very lucky here at Swansea that we have a transcription team who put my work into the format I want. Like I say I want, but I have it electronic, but if I want some embossed, I can have that embossed. And if there's any like inaccessible documents and stuff, I just send it to them and go, can you deal with this, please? Although I didn't choose Swansea for the transcription at the time, because we chose it generally for swimming. Well, yeah, we did completely for swimming, and because they got a 50-metre swimming pool like at Loughborough and at Swansea. But it was just made my experience like so much better, because if there's anything I want like adapting, I just send it to them and they do their magic and it turns up accessible, which is lovely. And the disability team have been amazing as well. But Brilliant. The lecturers for me as well have just been really enthusiastic. I never knew that they could be so enthusiastic about psychology, but it does make it a lot more like exciting to learn about, to be fair.
And do you find that having good lecturers and people who are excited, that it actually increases your enjoyment of learning? Yes,
because we cover so many different topics as well. We cover like anything from educational psychology to clinical and to forensic, and the lecturers have that is their areas like expertise and stuff. So they just seem so enthusiastic, and they're like, you just want to learn more, even if I'm not 100%. I do enjoy them all, but I know that I'll specialise later on. But at the moment, I'm just enjoying all of them.
And so at Loughborough, it's also, we both chose campus universities because we thought city universities may be a little bit busy.
Good choice.
So both of ours are campus, varying sizes.
Mine's a lot smaller than yours.
Loughborough's the largest campus in Britain, if not Europe.
Yes, Scarlett, I'd love to know more about your uni experiences. Like, have there been any differences to Eliza?
So we don't have a transcription team. So my work is adapted by the university and my lecturers individually. So the department's in charge of adapting my work. So it's down to the lecturers per se to make their, like, so I get sent the PowerPoint slides in advance, but they have to write the alt text. They have to make sure everything's accessible in that, and the worksheets, if there's graphs, they've got to describe them and everything. So far, so good. They've all been really good making sure they do that. But when they first said, it's down to your department, I was like, you hear these things about schools, I'm like, oh, okay, this will be interesting. But actually, it's going really well. The good thing is that the university does have a quite a large disability and support team, so they can provide like note takers, sighted guiding, things like that, which is very useful if I do. So occasionally I use that if it's like a new classroom or a lecture hall. I just message and say, can I have a sighted guide to this, please? So that's always useful to know that you've got the support from a VI perspective, and then like from like living perspective, we both live in halls, so and they've also been above and beyond to make sure that's all accessible. So, for instance, I had a touchschry hob, which not great. Oh yeah. So I got a talking induction hob. I was like, I can't use this. So fine. So I got a talking induction hob. So it's great from an academic perspective, but also from a holistic living perspective. They've managed to address the VI needs in all areas, which I couldn't ask for better, really.
We've been quite fortunate.
Yeah, very fortunate.
Brilliant. And so you both swim at your universities. How's that gone? How have you managed to balance studying, socialising, swimming, and how have the unis been able to support you with that?
I think when we initially said we wanted to join, I think both unis were like, okay, we can try and make this possible sort of thing. Because we're both the first VI. Well, no, you've had a VI athlete before. Yeah. I was the first one at Swansea, so I bet they're like, oh dear. But they both do really good. Do you want to explain?
Yeah, so we train, I would say about 14, 15 hours a week in the pool, and then 2 or 3 gym sessions a week. So for how mine works, so then you have 15 hours of lectures. So the way mine works is I have I say about 10 session times, and then I pick the 7 or 8 that work best around my lecture schedule. So then I can attend both. And then you try and fit socialising in around that. So most people will live on campus for mine because, come from far and wide. Mm-hmm. So I see most of my friends at the weekends. They go into town, have socialise, go to the students' union. So that's when I do most of my socialising. Or like I do choir on a Tuesday because I don't train Tuesday evenings. So I go to some of the societies, like choir, orchestra. So you just fit it in around. You just need to be organised and just see where your timetable fills up.
Mine, we have certain times. So I train, I think it's 9 sessions. But luckily they don't really clash with lectures, and if they do, we liaise like with the lectures. They have like 2 sessions that you can attend, so I attend like the A half for some of them and the B half for the others. So it's a way that is worked out quite nicely because psychology is quite a big course, so I just go into the different halves.
This Modern World lecture is also recorded.
And the lecture is recorded, so if you do have to miss it like due to like competitions or something, you can catch up on them, which is very useful. And then, for training-wise, we have like a team of tappers who take it in turns for each session to have like a tap per session. So they've just got a small army of tappers who just, have a rota. I don't actually know the rota sometimes. So I'm like, I know roughly who'll turn up, and I'm like, oh, I've got this person today.
Nice surprise,
normally I know because they're like, oh, I'll see you like next Tuesday. I'm like, okay, see you next Tuesday. Sometimes.
So what are you doing here?
If it has like a last-minute change, because lots of them, well, some of them are through like Swim Wales and the like university staff, and some of them are students who volunteer their time, which I'm always very grateful for. So if they've got like a last minute exam or something, they might like be like, oh, I'm going to switch with this person, and I'm like, okay, and then, but they're a lovely bunch of people, and they make it work so smoothly. I can't fault them for that.
Good. I mean, I can imagine that's a lot of balancing, a lot of just everything you have to always be thinking about because you're an athlete, but you're also a student for both of you. Have you found that at all it's taken a toll on your mental health? How have you sort of balanced that? How have you looked after yourselves whilst you've been doing that?
I think it's quite easy, to spiral in either way. Like, if things are going well, be a bit too enthusiastic maybe, and then you can then get knocked down quite easily. I think it is quite a good balancing act you have to think about. I think lots of it's time management because obviously university is stressful at the best times. My course particularly is a lot of reading.
It's when you were like, there's so much reading. I'm like, Scarlett, it's history and international relations.
But you have the same thing, don't you, Eliza? Like you have the same.
Yeah, at least it's slightly different. It's like articles more than actual books.
It's the books that get me. Anyway, but you get that. I think lots of it's down to time management because that then can reduce stress. Because we all know stress isn't good.
It's like communication. Like if you got something like deadlines or something, like at least
communicate
someone. It's not like you're all by yourself.
That's important. I think communication's key to let those around you know what you're feeling, and I think time management helps reduce the stress. I think just speaking to people, so you don't want to think yourself in 2 boxes, I am an athlete or I am a student, because you're a student athlete, you're both. So I think it's making sure you have the time and like timetable in the socializing, make sure you keep on top of your lecture work, and as I always say, it comes down to enjoying what you do, because if you think something's a chore, you're not going to enjoy it. But if you find time in your week for a bit of everything, you feel more rounded, and then your mental health stays a bit more rounded, because it's so easy to slump, if something comes a bit overwhelming or if something's just not going well.
Like not normal, but you'll have weeks when you're a bit stressed. I think it's just accepting that and trying to find a way to like relax and maybe like see a friend at the weekend or and just
get through it, and then you'll be all back to normal at some point. So I think it's just a balancing act, but everyone at uni, like some people do have lots of people have hobbies. So I think you're not alone. There's lots of people like you, just making sure you reach out or just make sure you're enjoying what you're doing, keep yourself rounded and grounded.
So obviously we're all here because of VICTA. How did you get involved with VICTA, and how's that sort of shaped your journey with sport or just in general?
We first went to the VICTA family weekends. I don't even know.
Back in 2012.
2012? Oh, that's the first one, right? Okay.
Oh, wow. I think I went to the exact same one.
Wow, that's cool.
But you must have been like tiny, cause...
Yeah, we were 7, I think. Yeah.
I was 12.
Yeah, I think it was space themed, I think. And anyway,
yeah, I went to that one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And we loved like all like the high ropes and all the rock climbing, although I'm pretty sure I didn't go very high the first one because I'm like, oh, this is scary. But now I really enjoyed them all. So we went to like different ones, and it was great for my parents to see like different families of VI children.
It's the first time we'd met other families of VI children, and my parents were like, there's people like, you know, with the same level of vision as my children who have the same, like, not problems, but, you know, face the same challenges, like
you have to describing
everything around you, or you know,
using canes. Or
even small things like using canes, because if you don't come into contact with people who also have a VI, then you don't really feel like the odd ones out until then. So
and it's the first time that we have a younger brother, so the first time he could go like with a sighted group of children to do like the same activities like rock climbing, quad biking, you know, whichever.
He must have loved that.
Yeah, because he didn't have to. I'm not saying he didn't have to look out for us, but we didn't have to be like, all right, where's Sebastian now?
And he didn't have to feel like, oh, Eliza, you can, like, I'll help you do the rock climbing, because he could just be a normal sighted sibling and, you know, do the activities with other sides, not having to think about their VI.
Just collect them at the end of the day, sort of thing. And he'd be like, what did you do today?
So I think that was really useful. So we did many of those family weekends over the years. What else have we done, like?
We did the Changemakers last year.
Oh yeah,
we were in the same group, weren't we?
Yeah, that was good fun.
A little bit here.
I'm trying to think what else we've done with VICTA. We've done just other sessions in indoor skydiving.
Oh, that was
we did that in Milton Keynes. That was good fun. Just other like activities they've run, but they've all been good fun because you get to meet other people, other VI people like yourself, Ellie, with you know, because it's a small world, but then if you don't get into it, you know,
you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah,
100%. We've not got much time left, which is very sad, but I have two more questions for you, and the first one is, what are the plans for the future? What do you see yourselves doing in the next couple of years? You know, do you have any plans about what you want to do? I'd love to know.
So I'd like, keep swimming hard, see how it goes, keep studying hard, see where that goes. But I think it's just keep enjoying everything and just see where I can get to, because swimming, I always say, is an easy sport in the sense of it's you versus the clock. So you can see how quick can you go, because you can't control what anyone else does. So you just see what's the best you can do. So that keeps driving me forward, seeing where in the next few years, how much time can I drop, how fast can I be? And then academically, keep ticking along, learning more, and keep getting the grades and hopefully get through my degree, which scarily that'll be over in 3 years. So that's going to be scary.
Similar to Scarlett, I say just keep pushing what I can do. I'm always looking to try and improve myself. So that'll be like in the pool, me versus the clock, see how much I can improve to improve my times. And then, studying, just see where it goes.
And my final question for you guys is, if you had any advice to give any young athlete, whether they're just getting into it or whether they're really, really established already, what would it be?
I would say give anything a try and always keep opportunities open. Take every opportunity, and the enjoyment is the biggest thing. So take every opportunity. If you want to do a certain sport, give it a try. There should be a way to adapt it for yourself if you're new to the sport, and if you enjoy it, keep going and just take every opportunity that's given to you.
I'd say be realistic, but also keep having goals, because everyone's journey is different. So if you keep your own goals in mind, keep working hard and focusing on yourself, but as I said, enjoying what you do at the same time, then that's the best you can do, because everyone's journeys are different. Never compare yourself to others, because they're on a different journey and you'll achieve what you want to achieve.
Brilliant. Thank you both so much for giving up your time and being so brilliant interviewees. Honestly, I think it couldn't have gone better, and both of you are so good at balancing, and I presume you've had a lot of practice at taking turns speaking, and I can really tell. So seriously, well done, and you know, I'd love to get to know you a little bit more outside of this, because you're both fantastic. So thank you so much. If you want to keep up with Scarlett and Eliza, you can do so by following them on Instagram at Humphrey_sisters, and don't forget to follow the VICTA social media at VICTA UK on Instagram and TikTok, just to see what the Changemakers are getting up to.
Wow, Scarlett and Eliza really are an inspiration. You're listening to the See It Our Way podcast. This episode is all about blind gains, and up next, we're sharing some more of our embarrassing stories being blind or visually impaired. And guess what? Yours truly's in this. Okay, so we're going to talk about some embarrassing stories again that have happened to us.
No.
We did this on the last episode and it was very good, but we got some different people here. So I'm Adam.
I'm Johnathan. Hello. I'm Roake. Hi.
Who wants to start us off?
Let me start. Okay, where do I start? I've come across some awkward, embarrassing stories. I think probably one of the most that stand out to me that I say a lot is I once was practicing getting on and off the train in mobility, and I dropped my cane onto the tracks, and I had to get help, and they had to stop the trains for like 5 minutes at one of the busy stations in Woking for like 5 minutes, so all the trains were running a bit behind.
Oh no! So you were like the reason for some people's like missing, like work.
I'm missing work for this.
I was the main centre of the issues of the train. You know, it was definitely a scene, and they had to get people to go on the track and get my cane out. Really.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I suppose they've got to though. Like they can't say no. If it was like your mobile phone or something, I'd be like, well, that's tough.
Yeah, I must say I was in like year 6 at the time.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah.
You know, any from you, Johnathan?
I'm trying to think. Honestly, I mostly just have bones to pick with people. But anyway, either way. Well, like we all do, though, to be fair. I have a friend who happens to have a YouTube channel, and I recently started helping him with that. Gobblefunk, by the way, go check it out if you can. Basically, he does like horror game playthroughs and stuff like that, basically. And one of the videos, I don't even remember what game it was anymore. You need to find the original video. But essentially, he has... I don't even know what he has. He sees things a lot darker than normal people. He's also red-green colorblind, so he just sees grey. Very fun to gaslight. His mates once nearly gaslit him into thinking the Asda logo was red instead of green, and it nearly worked. Anyway,
I'm glad we got these stories on the podcast.
But anyway, so I remember one time he had to sneak around and stuff like that because I think some witch or something in the game was trying to murder him. Classic horror game stuff. He basically just said, "Hopefully she's not out here," and he just walks right in front of the witch because he didn't see the guy. Not that funny at the time, but because one of his mates edited the video, just took the mick out of him. The editing made it. It was very good.
We went when I was at secondary school. We went on a school trip to Disneyland Paris.
What secondary school are you going to?
Well, we had to pay for it. It wasn't like free.
Fair enough. But come on, you got to go on a plane for your school trip. My school, we literally had to fight the school to go on a school bus.
Well, it was a trip to Paris. To be fair, we were there for like 3 nights. But one of the days we went to Disneyland, and you know, we're allowed to just explore ourselves for the day, like go off and the groups that we did. So I went off with a few of my mates, and then I think we stopped in the middle of the day for lunch. So we went to this lunch spot, and then we were like, okay, let's go. But they went off ahead of me before they even realised. I was still trying to work out what goes where in the bins, you know, with all this like, recycling here, mixed plastic here, and that was confusing me. And then I'd got out and they'd already vanished. And then this is just as when the parades were starting. I was like, for goodness sake. And the streets were absolutely packed. And this is the day where, you know, I've got, it's just I didn't have a smartphone. It was just like, you know, so I couldn't just like get maps out or something to try and work out. And I completely lost them. And obviously I was only like 12 or 13. So I was like proper like, oh my God, I'm lost forever.
Like panic attack level, basically. Yeah.
And obviously I struggle to see properly in crowds anyway. And when an environment I'm not used to, I was like, oh my God. So the last resort I went to was like, we had this like emergency contact number, which I thought would go to one of the staff on the trip. But I rang it and then it went to this guy called Mr. Lawson, his name was. And he answered, he's like, hello. And I was like, hello. And I was like, I'm lost in Disneyland. And he was like, what? I said, I'm lost in Disneyland. This is like this is Ian Lawson. Who are you? But it was like he was the deputy head of my school back home, so he was the emergency number. So it was this miscommunication. I was like, well, who are you? You were like, where's this number from? And then I was like, well, I'm lost on this trip, and he was like, well, I don't even know who you are. But then, luckily, my friends came back and found me. But for them 5 minutes, I was like, if you like get locked in a bathroom or something, you think, right, that's it. I'm here for the rest of my life.
Yeah. What limb's going first so I can survive?
Yeah.
And also another embarrassing story for me is I don't know if this is just me. Like, yes, we do have a long cane, some of us, and we might fear it, but we get close to a wall. But is it just me that? Like, I would just continue walking into the wall instead of stopping. It's just like I my brain just doesn't always process that it's there and you need to stop,
Have you ever headbutted like a wall hard?
Oh, yeah, actually, this is actually true. This is a couple of weeks ago. Okay, at college, we had a learning walk, so we had the governors come in. This is so embarrassing. And I never walk into anything at college. College is completely safe. 5 seconds of being there, I walked into the wall, literally of meeting the governor for the first time. It was super embarrassing.
Have I ever told the story where I tried to kick open my friend's dorm room door and ate the carpet instead?
Johnathan, no, but I don't know. Should we ask this?
Yeah. It shows just how fewer brain cells I have, I guess. Basically, my mate's dorm room door, in some cases, it doesn't latch properly and it doesn't close properly. So sometimes if you just give it a really hard nudge, it just opens up. And bear in mind, I did this successfully 10 minutes ago. And then we left to go pick up another mate because we were having 3 lads just hard gaming session that night. Anyway. And in my eagerness to get back in, I didn't see that the door for once latched properly. So basically, from 3 feet away, I jumped and basically slammed my foot into the door. There was no resistance, so I just landed on my back. The thing hurt.
This podcast is brought to you by VICTA, a charity supporting blind and partially sighted children and young adults.
So we are talking about blind gains, and so I'll start off the conversation as I saw a video from Molly Burke talking about what we called blind gains, and I'm summarising. It was a while ago that I saw the video now, so in her video she was saying things that to call something like boarding a plane earlier for blind and visually impaired people isn't really a perk. It's an accessibility feature that helps to make our lives a bit easier. And I completely agree with that, because what she was saying was that unfortunately a lot of things that if we start calling them perks will get taken away or removed, because unfortunately that does happen a lot. I do completely agree. What do you two think?
I completely agree with your point on gains, but I think I can also take a different stance on it, and I feel like maybe I wouldn't call it a gain, but there are aspects of my life shaped by my blindness, which might be a gain. For example, my career aspirations are shaped by my experiences of discrimination because I wanted to advocate for others, so I decided to study law and become a lawyer. Or some of the people I met, some of my friends who have different disabilities, I would never meet them if I didn't have a disability, or I would never get involved in some of the charities I am a part of, or some activities I have done in the past. So I feel like although I wouldn't call it again, there are different aspects of our life sometimes shaped by our disability as well, which
No, fair enough. I mean, I think I understand where you and Molly Burke's video are coming from. I don't know if I fully agree in the sense that I guess I'm just wondering, why can't it be both? Why can't it be a perk and an accessibility need? I mean, it's not like even in the sighted world there aren't, perks as well as necessities, and they can go hand in hand, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. So I think between us in the blind community, yeah, that's fine to call it a perk. But when talking to someone who isn't, I think calling it an accessibility feature will help them to understand better that this isn't just, oh yeah, we're so lucky we get to board
we're not
first.
just having fun.
Yeah, they need to understand that, no, this is something that we need. This is something that helps us. So I think that's where I think maybe the difference should lie.
I get that. I think you're definitely right in the sense that the more people go around saying, especially to the sighted community, oh yeah, we get these perks, come on mate, let's get in there.
Yeah.
The more it's likely to be taken away, and the more they feel slighted. Why? They're blind and so on and so forth, but why are they getting this much leeway and so on and so forth?
Yeah.
Whereas if, like you said, if we explain it to them as in, we do kind of need this, we need this fast track, or we need to be put on a plane early to kind of get acclimatized to our surroundings, hopefully we'll get them to understand a little easier.
I do really like that.
So I guess it really just depends on perspective.
Yeah, I definitely agree with it. And also I think it's important to label it as a necessity as well. Even discussing it, whether it's an advantage or disadvantage can be problematic because it's just something people need in life and shouldn't even be discussed in some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, judged. Because it's just a feature people need and it should be normalized rather than stigmatized or seen as an
it's not something we should hide at all.
Yeah, exactly.
The gains we get are, in a sense, to help us from how do I put it, in regards to the number of things we're missing, not just with our sight, but for example, life on a day-to-day basis is about 50 times harder.
Yeah.
With regards to, like, for example, travel, cooking, cleaning, meeting up with people, going places. I mean, for example, I'm at university and the kind of support I need wouldn't, like you said, be considered a perk. It would definitively be a necessity.
Yeah.
I guess being blind has obviously shaped most of my experience. I have no functioning vision. And if I have, what apparently I have when I was very, very young, I don't remember it. And that I've grown up with that. So to me, sight is the best way I describe it is a superpower. I mean, to me, when I imagine things, it's I'm imagining feeling a table with my fingertips or with my hand. When people say they're imagining things, usually they mean they're seeing it. I'm like, what do you mean you're seeing it? You're like touching it with your mind or something across the room. Ah, sick. What the hell? But no, I think that kind of really drew me down the line of disability advocacy, because if I'm struggling to understand what it is like to see even a little, then I can only imagine how difficult it is for people who are sighted to imagine us as blind. Like, because I get lots of questions like, does being blind mean you can only see darkness? And again, I couldn't comment, but I'd say not. And from what other people have told me, it's a no as well.
Yeah.
Seeing darkness is completely different from being fully blind.
Yes. I think that is a very misunderstood concept as well, that blindness is a spectrum.
Yeah, no, that's a very big point. The different levels of people's vision is, I guess, it's not something you can easily explain.
No, it's not. It is very difficult to explain how much vision you have and what useful vision you have and all of that kind of thing. Because I do have some useful vision, but it's, as I say to people, it's only really in my right eye. And then trying to explain to them exactly how much I can see is near impossible. So I go with the classic of I have no depth perception and I can't see detail. What a lot of the sighted community understand is that I don't have enough vision to be able to drive. that is where they can understand what I'm talking
you have to
about.
provide little benchmarks in a sense. I guess that's something that I kind of had to learn the older I grew, because the older I've grown and the more disability advocates I've seen around me, it kind of inspires you to kind of go, I want to do that as well.
Yeah.
I want to kind of speak out about the VI community, talk about my own lived experience, and just help future generations of blind people to not struggle as much as we have in ours.
Yeah, definitely.
My blindness also showed my interest in advocacy and public speaking, because like you said, I wanted to speak up and help others in the same situation to remove some of the barriers or access barriers on the way, or I wanted younger generations to have better experiences than I had, or also be a role model for others to show people what they can do and achieve as well.
I think that's one of the key things like this podcast are useful for, because just bring it back to the topic of VI gains, there's not, I guess, one clear repository of information. For example, growing up, one of the key things that's kind of pushed me towards becoming a disability advocate is the fact that growing up, I didn't know about a lot of the opportunities available to me. Things like taxi card, a freedom pass, VICTA charity, RSBC, all of these things that I know of now, I didn't know as a child, because even though I attended a school for visual impairment, they didn't provide much information. And I think it's really crucial to kind of have some place, and that's kind of one of my goals for the future, to kind of create some sort of system or place or a website, just somewhere where there's like a good listing of opportunities, things, not perks as we discussed, more gains.
Yeah.
For people to kind of go, okay, yeah, I'm eligible for this, I can apply for this.
I would love to for something like that to exist, because it would be very beneficial, not just for the blind community, but also for those who care about someone in the blind community, parents, carers, anyone, to have all of that information in one place, of where you can go for specific things, of what there is available, everything. That would be absolutely amazing.
Exactly. Do you ever both have maybe a top 5 few gains that have helped you in your lives? Any things you can apply for or sign up to that you think really made a difference?
For me, I think there are lots of different charities or organizations like VICTA, but some national ones, some depends on where people live, some local ones. So exploring them, they may be doing lots of different social events or activities, but also supports like technology, teaching to use technology, or practical help with, applications and things like that. Or even I discovered lots of different supports or different hobbies, by different organizations as well, which I never thought, someone with visual impairment can do, or I never considered doing before. So I think those are really good ones.
VICTA for me has been a big part of helping sort of in the blind community, meeting lots of different people, learning lots of new things. I applied a few years ago for what is called an access card. It can be used in many different places in place of like a blue badge. It basically shows the your accessibility needs, so it's all on one card, so that you can just hand that into, I don't know, the desk or wherever, and they can see and hopefully make sure that all of that is in place for you. Blue badges are also extremely useful to be able to park in disabled spots and all of that kind of thing.
But I only recently heard of an access card, and I was like, this sounds amazing. I've heard of things like access card, a CEA card for cinemas.
A cinema card, yes.
And on a different topic, this is a very long and broad topic, I can't really talk much maybe, but I feel like even in different areas of life, people don't really know what support they might be entitled to. As a university student, I found this a lot. There was like lots of uncertainties about, what will be available for me during that transition, or it might be the same for people moving from education to employment. And so like you don't realize, and sometimes you get into that trap of you won't really get much support, or you have to rely on different things you don't know about, or it's important to be aware of, I guess, your rights and what you might be entitled to, or what is available, and how to ask for them as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's something I'm looking into as well, in the sense that university support is really, really difficult. I don't think people realize how much you have to fight at university to keep your place, just because you don't have as much support as everyone else. And just because you need a lot of extra support workers, extra technology, accessible softwares. But I think that's the thing with a lot of organizations like school, colleges, they lead you from one step to another, and then once you get to university, it feels like you're floundering because you don't know where to turn to, what's available.
Yeah.
And there's so many different sources of information that go, oh yeah, go here, they might be able to help. Oh no, okay, go here, they might be able to help.
Yeah, there are lots of signposting and
yeah.
That is unfortunately in a lot of aspects. But I wonder if maybe we could do, as the Changemakers could do something with VICTA to create this space for the blind community with all the information available.
Because I'm currently looking for support, for example, after university.
Yeah.
You know, to help with traveling about and going to the gym and things like that.
Mm.
But where do you find things like that? Where do you get that kind of support?
Yeah, even listing what is available or what other people use would be good, so that people can look at them and find something they don't like. Even we found out about, different websites we didn't know from each other.
Great to hear from Ruqayyah, Zehra and Talha there, talking about their experiences and opinions with blind gains. This is the See It Our Way podcast, brought to you by VICTA. Catherine, Lee and Johnathan are here now to continue the discussion on blind gains.
Hi everyone, I'm Catherine. In this segment, we're going to talk about our blind gains that we've personally accessed, and maybe we'll have a chat towards the end about things that we wish we could access but don't currently exist, or there's not enough information about it. So,
very interesting.
Yeah, I know. I think for me, my main thing, so I'm really into my theatre. I did theatre and English at uni, so I do like to go and watch a lot of performances. And one thing that you can access if you're visually impaired is sort of better seats, and you can also, so closer to the front so that you can see more. So I have some vision, but my fine detail is basically non-existent. So if I'm sat at the back of a theatre, it's a really different experience to if I'm at the front. Depends on the theatre and on the ticket group as well, but usually you can access a seat that's closer to the front. And the other thing that is a nice perk is you can get like a personal assistant ticket or a kind of carer's ticket. So that means that you can have someone come along with you, or an essential companion, they sometimes call it as well. There's lots of different phrases for the same thing, I find. You can have someone come along with you and they don't have to pay for their ticket. So,
Theatre tickets and theatre in general are brilliant. I would say, over the country. I have only the last couple of years started taking the advantage of the theatre, really, accessibility, and I've come across that most of the time they've been brilliant, and I love a theatre. And like also some theatres offer backstage tours as well for someone that is visually impaired.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
So yes, so basically I'm not sure, I don't think it's on every show, but on some of the showings, on accessibility shows, I think in the West End as well, especially, they do, before the show opens the doors, I think like an hour before, you can go along and you can get an exclusive backstage tour.
Yeah, you can get like a touch tour and stuff, right? Yeah.
And you can explore like the costumes, and so the main reason is for it, I guess for you, Catherine, that because you got some vision, you can see it, but as someone that doesn't really have a lot of vision, I can imagine what the costume feels like and looks like, by being right next to it before the showing. So when the show's on, I can just picture it, really.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah, so if you can feel the costumes or like explore the stage and you get a sense of how big the stage is and what the people are wearing. That's so good. Yeah, I think just what you said then about like you've only started to use it in recent years. I literally only until like the last year have never taken advantage of the fact that you can have these access passes or do these experiences or have better seats or whatever. You know, for me, like I can't find my seat on my own without someone telling me, you know, where my seat number is. So I've never been to the theatre on my own. So the fact that my boyfriend can come with me, you know, it's nice because he would come with me anyway. But then like he's doing things like telling me where my seat is or telling me where the toilets are and things like that. So it reduces the anxiety of the overall like social anxiety of the situation.
I went to the West End a few years ago now, and with one of my other visually impaired friends for like the first time, believe it or not, and we had like a staff member that came and showed us that it was an accessibility staff member on the day, was on the door ready.
Oh, wow.
And they showed us to the seats. And it was brilliant because they were very helpful. In the interval is where they came over and checked if we wanted like any drinks to go to the bar. And then at the end, they showed us to the exit, really. And we actually got in 5 minutes before they officially opened the door. So before it started getting overcrowded and busy, they allowed us in like 5 minutes before, as well to get to our seats before everyone gets in.
Oh, see, that's so good. And that's the sort of thing that I didn't even really know that they do. No. Have you two been to any festivals or anything like that?
I have never been to a festival. I would love to. They look amazing. But yeah, how is the accessibility at a festival?
I think it really depends. So like I was saying, I haven't really taken advantage of the fact that you can get access passes and things till the last year. So I went to a festival in Bristol in August. And I thought, oh, wait a minute, I can do the thing again where someone can come with me as my essential companion, which I've literally never taken advantage of. So you save a bit of money. But also while I was there was a charity or an organisation there called Give Vision. And they provide these like VR headsets. So when you're wearing them, they come with like a little joystick. So you can zoom into the stage and you can change like the colour contrasts and stuff. So for me, if I'm at a festival, I can't see the people on the stage really at all. I'm just there for the vibes and the music. But it was great because I could see what the artists were doing because you could really zoom in. They were quite clunky and kind of awkward because they're like an actual VR headset that you would go to the accessibility section to wear.
How did you find the crowds and that?
Do you know what? Because this festival was quite small, it was just one massive field with a stage at either end. It wasn't too bad. But again, when I've been to festivals in the past, I always think I could not come on my own because I just find it a bit too overwhelming. With like, I'm always amazed like when my friends like know where they're going. I'm thinking, how do you know where you're going right now? It's just because obviously they can see like signage and landmarks and stuff, but I can't. And I always feel like, oh, maybe I'm not a terrible navigator. Maybe it is actually the vision, and I should give myself some credit. But yeah, the Give Vision was really good. And the accessibility area was nice as well. Like they had some raised platforms, so that was for everyone that had any sort of access needs, so that you weren't in with the main crowd. And it was nice to take advantage of it and experience something that I've experienced a few times before, but just in the regular way. Just to see what the difference was.
I must say, I'm really interested to try it one day. Johnathan, though, have you ever done a festival or theatre before?
I've been to a few theatres in my life. I would like to go to festivals and concerts and stuff like that. There are definitely people that I want to see. More than anything, though, I would really like to go
sorry. As you, I did forget about concerts. I have been to quite a few concerts actually, and the accessibility at concerts have been really good actually.
My partner went to a concert literally like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And the organisers and the staff there were really accommodating, actually. And she had a bit of anxiety before going over there, but it was settled quite a bit when she got there.
Yes.
But I would like to at some point go to a few more like concerts and festivals.
Yeah.
I would definitely like to go to, if I can, go to like a convention or something like that.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of places, there are a lot of interests that I have that, like, I constantly see, for example, like Anime Expo, VidCon, these kind of places. I would love to just experience one of those places in person.
Yeah.
But obviously, those places are basically held in like massive warehouses.
Yeah.
So,
like,
yeah.
I think London Zoo and so many others, all like day out places you would go with your family across London and over the country, really, are amazing at making sure they are all accessible, and they have, take the advantage of the systems, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, I knew that these access things existed, but I didn't really know that I personally could access them. I think because I do have some vision and I don't look visually impaired, I almost felt like, oh, well, that's not for me. But it is. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh, I don't know if I deserve these access perks, then you definitely do, and you should take advantage of them, because if you've got to have a vision impairment or be blind, you might as well take the advantages that you can get, because there are a lot of disadvantages that come with it. So you should be able to access the things that make life a bit more joyful or a bit easier as well.
Think about it this way: you deserve it more than a lot of people who have it do.
Yeah.
And also, I think VICTA, for example, and other organisations are brilliant in the VI community for making this awareness and making this known. And that's where most of my knowledge comes from, to be fair. And, VICTA put on so many great opportunities which I wouldn't have done before. Like, I did archery, I tried out goalball, blind football, what basically near enough every vision impaired person has tried out. And, I wouldn't have ever thought about doing these things until I actually got involved and did these things, like at family weekends and etc.
Yeah, I can say, so I work for VICTA, and some of the events that we put on are things that I know a lot of blind or VI people would love to do but maybe can't do. So you guys were talking about driving before. We recently did a 14 to 17s off-road driving day, which
How'd that go down?
Really well. Everyone loved it, because I think, you can get around most things. There are adaptations, there are adjustments, but something like driving, you can't do that. It's not safe to do that. So to have a day where you can get behind the wheel and have that experience, for a lot of people, that's something that is going to be it's going to be a sore point, or, cause sadness, because that's something that you can't do that nearly everyone else around you can do. So to get that experience is really important and motivating. And other things, like with the photography course, you're thinking, why would somebody who has low vision or no vision want to do photography? But it's not necessarily about the picture at the end and what it looks like. It's about the experience of what you want to capture, the story that you want to tell. Learning how to use a camera, going out on the street and learning different styles and ways of taking pictures. It's an art form, so for people to do that, it's like kind of breaking that expectation that if something's visual, you ultimately just can't do it and there's no point trying. So that's something I love about VICTA, is the way that some of the things we put on really break people's expectations, not just of blind people, so if you're sighted, but the people that come to those courses sometimes are like, wow, I didn't realise that I could do this or that I would enjoy this.
No, VICTA have definitely grown my confidence and independence incredibly, and I always do think of VICTA, and it's always a thing that I always go away and try and support. And like with my dad doing 3 marathons as well, that's also another part of me sort of giving back to amazing charity since a very young age, really.
I still can't believe your dad is doing 3 marathons.
It's
guy
incredible.
Has a death wish and half.
He's already run them, or he's doing them this year.
He's due to do them later this month at time of recording.
Oh my gosh! In a row, 3 in a row, or 3 separate?
So 3 in 15 days.
Oh
so
my gosh.
Okay, at least you get some respite. Thank God for that.
On the 12th of April, he starts with the Brighton.
Yeah.
Followed by on the 19th of April, Newport in Wales.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the 26th, the ultimate one, the London Marathon.
I see.
All the VICTA staff will be there.
Yeah, I will be there too. So, it is definitely going to be a challenge. It's a mental one for my dad. But it's also, we do, as a family, try and do something for charity each year because because each year we do something for a charity. Like a few years ago, I did a half marathon.
Wow.
For another organisation that has supported me at a young age as well. So, all these organisations that have helped me and grow my independence, it is just a sort of a thank you, really, to say, to support more people a bit like me. And I see it every day, a part of being a VICTA change maker as well, on the difference you lot really do make to a lot of people on a daily basis.
Yeah, there is a big community of people out there. It's just knowing where to find them, isn't it?
Yes, and I think especially as the social media age is growing and blind influencers are very popular and are very, very good at spreading awareness. I do believe, though, sometimes the blind community can get a bit lost of just thinking it is the blind world out there. I do, you know what I mean? I don't think we just sometimes think it is just there is a sighted world out there. And that is the issue we live in.
It's like we forget, you can see.
But the issue, I think that's partly because, to save myself a bit there, I think it is... the issue comes is when the world is a sighted place. It's not made for someone that is visually impaired, is it? Like many other disabilities, really. Wouldn't you agree with that, though, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you look at the world around you, and it's like, there are adaptations and things involved, but if you really, properly look... It's so obviously clear that disability was kind of like a afterthought in kind of construction and environmental design, stuff like that. It largely is just the convenience of sighted people with a bit of disability awareness added in, which any help is appreciated, but honestly, more care needs to be taken, more care needs to be put in.
Yeah, I think when things are done really well, accessibility wise, it's when it makes things easier for everybody and not just for one particular group. So say when I was at uni, because like you were saying, we are, digital now, for me, I'm always looking at, say, if someone's got a PowerPoint presentation up, I will have that in front of me on my laptop so that I can zoom into it and read it.
Yes.
Which was something that used to make me stand out when I was at school because I was the only person doing that. But then at university, everyone's got a laptop in front of them. Lots of people have the slides in front of them anyway because they're writing notes on them. And the system that my uni provided for you to access those slides in advance was just like a standard practice. So I wouldn't sit there and feel like I was different to anybody else, even though I was using those slides for an accessibility reason.
Yes.
Everyone else is using them as well, and it makes their lives easier. So when things like that are done, that's really useful. I don't know if you guys have any experience of that where it's benefited somebody else.
Yeah, definitely.
And not just you.
And a part of me having a radio show is that I don't know who's listening. I try and get the middle because not all my listeners are visually impaired. But when the focus is on the visually impaired topic, even if making a difference to one person, it just means the world to me. I'm not about making a difference to 20, 30 different people. It's just about making a difference to that one person, really. And that's what I always say, really, over the years. And it's come very much a community now. So, yeah, I'm very lucky in that sense to have that sort of connection. And also, like, we have seen, even part of the VICTA team of the Changemakers and that, we've seen of people even reaching Paralympic level, you know, so by British Blind Sports as well. Is that one of the organisations that VICTA work really closely with? You know, these links are really out there, and nothing is like non-stoppable, really. Like I was saying in the education section, you know, you just have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and communicating what you want, really.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any tech that you use that you rely on when you're just out and about? Because I'm just thinking, like, I got an iPad recently.
Yeah.
And that's, like, made a huge difference to me when I'm at my other job, which is when I'm teaching musical theatre. Like, physical scripts are just not a thing for me, so like to have it on an iPad is amazing, and it's like really transformed like my confidence at work and stuff. So
my Braille note is my best friend, really. You know, I get along with my Braille note. I have just recently got Meta glasses as well.
Oh, what are they like? Have you tried them, Johnathan?
I have not, but I have seen people have them.
Yeah, no, they are very good. I must re-admit, they're not perfect, and they are very growing. And Generation 3 is just about to come out, I believe. And what it is, these glasses that are fit with an AI system run by Meta, we have seen issues with them because they are not technically made for someone that are made for a visually impaired person. But the visually impaired community have very much taken them on.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Like when something has been made just for the general population, but then it has all those perks.
We'll find a way. Yeah. We'll find a way to make things work.
Yeah.
Yes. And, you know, so I've just started using them. And we do have, because I go to a VI college, we have our own pair at college as well. And we have all started using them in mobility lessons. So, you know, it's interesting now.
Oh, really? They've integrated it into what you actually learn?
Yeah, to actually into like going out into the community and learning about it, really. And like navigating to finding a shop. If I don't know a town or don't know where the shop is, I can just ask the Meta glasses to look for me, and it would tell me where that shop is.
Is it accurate? Like, how does it work? Do you have to turn your head around and like do a 360 until it sees it?
I can't say I've tested out a lot to really give a full judgment on it. But the other day, for example, I was at a bank. Mm-hmm. I didn't technically need to be there. It's just because it was a mobility lesson, practicing. And I asked it to look for the bank sign. It looked for the bank sign, and it told me the bank is about 10 steps in front of me. And
oh wow! So it does it in steps as well. Because sometimes if it says like meters, I'm thinking that's no use to me. I don't know what you mean.
So yeah, it said to me like, oh, it's 10 steps in front of you, and the door is on the right. And, you know, it will describe it all to you.
Oh, that's
really cool. And the thing about them is you can listen to music, and obviously as VI people, it's very, very important for anyone, but especially for a VI person, to listen to the surroundings around you. Mm-hmm. You can still hear everything around you whilst you're listening to your favourite podcast or your music.
So it doesn't block the sound out from outside. Okay, cool. Oh, nice. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Johnathan, you said before that you shot an air rifle or something as like part of it. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, part of my college is that we have a lot of every Wednesday afternoon for 1 to 2 hours, depending on what activities you pick, basically. You have a whole bunch of activities that you can pick. One of them being acoustic shooting.
Acoustic shooting?
Acoustic shooting is basically when you basically have an air rifle mounted onto a stand, and the sight basically operates via audio.
Oh my gosh.
So as you get closer...
We know who to look out for.
Yeah, as you get closer to the bullseye, the pitch of the hum increases.
Oh, okay.
Actually, a few months ago, very just not as a part of, just for a bit of fun, to be honest. I went into the pub with one of my friends, and we played some darts.
How did it go?
It was interesting. Because I'd never played darts before, and I technically broke the dart. So yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh. Do you know what? I think that's the thing, though, isn't it? Like, because I played darts recently, having never played it before, and I just assumed I was going to be really bad. Yeah. But I think I came like second out of my friends, and they've all got full sight. I was just like going up to the dartboard to like get a sense of where I needed to aim, stepping back, and I was like, right, I need to throw at 10 o'clock. Just like managing to do it.
They're 90% of darts, though, in my opinion, because I have 2 dartboards at home. I have a plastic one that I throw in my room because my parents didn't trust me with a real one inside, and another one that I hang outside in the garden.
No one was winning to be the scorer for me though on darts.
Yeah, 90% of it is all muscle memory. Especially if you watch it in professionals.
Yeah.
It's like if you can dial in a throw, like I've been able to throw 100 darts because I play the target version. I don't use the standard 20 sector one because I don't want to do maths. But I just do like the archery target. Yeah. I'm like able to dial it in from like 8s to 10s, like probably 70-80% of the time. If you can get like muscle memory down, it's not
if you know
difficult.
like how high you need to have the angle and stuff.
It's all muscle memory and timing, baby.
Yeah, so that's the thing, like maybe you think you can't do something. I think I approach a lot of things assuming that I'll be bad at them, which is probably quite a negative mindset to have, but then I'm always quite pleasantly surprised when I'm actually
like
not too bad.
To your advantage, really, I feel.
Yeah,
because
maybe.
when you do really well, it's like, hey,
I should have had more faith in myself and not just think that because I'm VI I can't do anything, which is sometimes how I approach stuff.
Don't we love though when we can skip queues and that though?
I know. Do you go to theme parks?
Yes.
I mean, I don't really like roller coasters because I'm terrified of heights, but
fair enough.
Good notion.
No.
You can get on the teacups before anyone else.
Good times.
Yeah. The flying fish. No. Honestly, I live quite near a few theme parks as I'm based.
You're being careful not to say where you're
based in Surrey. I mean it's all out there on Google anyway, to be fair. But it's just like where I'm based. It is very. I'm very lucky enough to be able to really like take the advantage of the Nimbus Pass. I think someone was saying they really took that advice from the previous episodes of that advice of purchasing their own Nimbus Pass. That is basically an access thing where you can get a lot of perks, really. One of them being going to a theme park and skipping the queue. With the digital age really growing, everything is sort of being done by your phone now. And it is a bit more of a fairer way of doing it because you're virtually waiting in a virtual queue. You scan your phone, the ride operator will, and how long is the queue for the main queue will be that time for till you can go on to the next ride. It just means you don't have to wait in that actual queue.
So you can see when you can start to go in queue, sort of thing.
Yeah. But and it is a fairer way because before when it was paper, the ride operators used to pretend they did it, where we could literally we'd just go and jump on another ride straight after. They didn't write any time down because some would just be a bit sneaky in that sense. Obviously, that was not a benefit to me, but it is a fairer way of working, to be honest. It is a bad way if phones go flat and that, though. It's difficult. You have to make sure your phone is charged, etc. Anyway, theme parks are very much especially Merlin, are very, very inclusive. I know there's been a lot of national news going around and headlines of queue jumps possibly being scrapped and stopped for the people that don't need it, because the issue of the raising of several different disabilities now being diagnosed with loads of different people is that loads of people are getting the queue jump, where the point of the queue jump is to make the queue smaller for the people that can't queue.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Because you want to kind of widen the net so that it's as inclusive as possible, but the queue jump's there for people that physically need to jump
it's a
queue.
balancing act, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting that
Merlin
that right,
did get a lot of backlash for it and have now scrapped the idea of scrapping it. But it was a thing that did reach the news, and it is a serious topic because now I guess the good thing about being on your phone as well, it tells you if the queue is too big. So
you don't go and join it if you don't need to.
Before you go and join the queue. I'm just thinking of the vampire in Chesington, because the vampire is always guaranteed to be a big access queue. For example, you have to get in at the right time because the queue is that big. You get notifications saying they're going to close the access queue because of how big it is. And it's just getting the right balance, really, and getting the right judgment on how they can run this system. And this digital system is very new. So yeah, it's a very developing thing.
Yeah, see how it goes, see how more things get digital. Yeah. I suppose maybe to end the segment off then, is there anything that we wish was out there that we don't currently have access to that would be like a gain or a resource? I'm struggling to think for myself, but
a lot of mine are quite niche because of my interests and stuff like that, because I've been really into cue sports my whole life. I got my first child snooker table when I was 7, started actually taking it seriously when I was around 13, 14 years old. Only problem is there's not really much way for me to really compete, unless if I want to compete with people who can probably drain a long pot from the other side of the table.
Yeah.
I've looked around a whole bunch, and there is an organization, I think it was called the WDBS, World Disability Billiards and Snooker, but they operate snooker tournaments, which isn't really what I'm looking for.
Do you want more of like a club with VI people that you can play against type of thing?
Preferably either that or just like, I think just a national league but that might be a little bit too adventurous. I would just like, I guess, more inclusive tournaments or what else. I'd just rather have a place where I know I stand a chance,
like
rather than having fully sighted people get given a handicap, and even then probably not really being able to get very far.
Yeah, because even though there's the handicap there, it's still
it's not enough. No.
Maybe that's why, though, because, a lot of organisations and groups start up because there is that gap in the market where someone's looking for something and it just doesn't exist. And so then they take it on themselves to set it up. So maybe that's something that you could do. Or maybe if you're listening to the pod, you could email us if you know anything about this or you know any organisations.
Yeah, and there's loads of VI organisations out there. there. I think we probably are very lucky in the VI community with VI organisations, as there's several links and there's several supports out there. Do your research, do what you need to do, and just, as I keep saying, keep pushing, really.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've met a lot of people who've set up their own organisation because, like you're saying, Johnathan, they've not been able to find that elsewhere, and they thought, well, do you know what? I'm just going to go and do it on my own. But maybe then it's just knowing where to look as well, because sometimes there might be something that is out there, but because it's quite a niche market, it's difficult to find.
Hi, it's Ellie again. Welcome back to Ellie's Pet Peeves, where I once again will be talking about things that really, really, really get on my nerves as a visually impaired person. And today I will be talking about education. Back in my school days, I always had the same kinds of teachers. Ellie, do you want to sit closer to the board? Ellie, do you want this massive sheet of paper where the size of text is exactly the same as it would be on an A4 sheet, but on a massive sheet? You know, the same things. Always the same things. It was so boring to listen to. I would always explain what I needed and what I wanted and what would help, but did they listen? Nope. Because they think because they're qualified and because they've been to university and whatever, it makes them know more than me, the person with the visual impairment. It's just so stupid. Like, how does that make sense? Like, I'm telling you what I need, and then you're ignoring it, and then when I come to you saying that I'm struggling to do the work or whatever, you put it back on me because you're like, well, I did say, or like, well, what do you actually need? You need to tell us what you need, then you need to communicate more. When it's like, this is what I've been doing the whole time. It drives me up the wall. I don't know about anyone else, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do at that point, because I even had it in uni. Like, tell me why. These are university professors, and they know what I need. It's in their system, but they still ignore it and do what they think works. Like, come on. Like, if you're so smart, use your brain. Same thing kind of goes with employers and, you know, the world of working, but the way the employers go about it is by not hiring us in the first place. Why? We are always willing to work so hard and we just want a job, but we're not even given a chance. Like, what is wrong with hiring a person who can maybe see less? Is it because it costs more for the training, huh? Like, it's fine. Like, do you want to be inclusive? I'm not being funny, but it looked good on your reviews or whatever anyway to hire a disabled person. It literally makes you look good and it gives us something to do with our lives. Like, please just take a minute if you're listening and you are hiring people. Think about how much better it would be for you as a company, first of all, to hire a disabled person. And then for us, what you'll be doing for us in the community. Because trust me, if one place hires a person with a disability, word will spread, and then you'll be known as that place that's inclusive, whereas most places just aren't. So do yourself a favour and get hiring some disabled people. But yeah, again, that's me done for today, and I will be back in the next episode.
Well, that was very passionate from Ellie, to say the least. That's all we've got time for today's episode. Thanks again for listening. If you want to follow us on any of our socials, follow what VICTA are doing. We are at VICTA UK, and we are back in 2 months' time, the 25th of June, to be precise, for the next episode. And you can also catch the Parent podcast as well. That's out on the 28th of May.